Have you ever tried to slice a vagina? It looks so weird. Oh god, I have a weird sense of humor. But this video was so much fun to make, so let's get started. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today guys, I'm going to be making a vagina cake for you guys. Yes, I know I've made vagina cupcakes before, but today is going to be a giant vagina cake. So if you want to see how I made the vagina cupcakes, click on the card right there's a card right up here that says click on me. Yeah, click on that. So I showed you guys how to make vagina cupcakes. So today I'm going to show you how to make a giant vagina cake. I already sliced through these and took a few bites. I don't know if you can see. But today I'm going to show you how I made that. So I had some lemon cake batter and I thought, okay, why not make it into something? And I thought, okay, why not make it into vagina cake? Because why not? Okay, so let's get started, guys. Okay guys, so I had some vanilla batter left and I decided, okay, let me bake this. So you see this scaly top, like the scaly top of the cake, that part that is breaking off and just cracking and everything, that is what happens when you mix your cake batter and then you leave it for like 2 to 3 hours outside before baking it. It forms this crust of sugar on top, yeah, and it's not a big problem. You can always slice it off and then just use your cake and everything. But if you don't want, like, if you have a cake that's like that, that was what went wrong. Like, you didn't bake it almost immediately, so you don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm slicing this into 2 and then I'm going to be using my buttercream. And this buttercream, I already colored it blue because I used it for a cake, so you can use any color, don't mind the blue color. That was just what I had. So if you want this buttercream recipe, it's a Ukrainian buttercream. It's a 2-ingredient Ukrainian buttercream, and it is delicious and it is easy and it is not as sweet as American buttercream, and it is as silky as Swiss marine buttercream. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's because it is too good to be true. Okay, so I kind of over melted my buttercream, so I'm going to be adding some more frozen buttercream to it, like to thicken it up a little bit. So nobody really ordered this cake. I'm just like, I like to just make myself happy, like, I don't know. So this cake is just for me, just make and just eat, and then maybe you put the rest in the bin, or don't know, give someone, because like I can't keep eating this much sugar. Okay, so that aside, yeah, so we're going to spread some of our buttercream on top of the cake and then we are going to layer it. So once we do that, yeah, we are going to carve this cake into like an oval shape. And normally I'd like to normally I put this in the fridge first, yeah, like to firm it up and everything, to make it easy to carve. If you want to see my video on how to carve cakes for beginners, yeah, don't mind this rubbish I'm doing. This is not how to carve your cake. Before you carve your cake, you want to put it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes to 1 hour so it can firm up. It makes it a lot easier. This was just me doing like the lazy girl method, because I was like, let me just do this video and get it over with, yeah. Okay, so I want to carve it into like an oval shape. So if you want a video on how to carve cake for beginners, I'm going to put the link right up here. It says click on me. Yeah, click on that. Okay, so you can see how to carve cakes properly, the steps you should take if you've never carved a cake before, or if that's your first time of carving that kind of cake and you don't want to like over carve or under carve or just do rubbish, yeah. Okay, so now that I'm done carving an oval shape out of my cake, we are going to try to cover it in buttercream. Okay, so I didn't really carve this well, so I think the top is kind of too high because I don't want it to be too tall, because vaginas are not, yeah, vaginas are swollen anatomically when maybe they're aroused, yeah, because all of the blood goes there, like the blood vessels like kind of dilate and the blood goes there, so it gets swollen, but not too swollen like, you know, puff puff or anything. So like I want to cut off the top a little bit so it won't be too swollen, yeah. I'm a medical doctor, so some of these things like come to play when I'm making maybe erotic cakes or cakes with body parts and everything. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, so once we are done crumb coating our cake, we are going to clean up everywhere and then we are going to come back to this clean cake and everything. So now I'm going to be putting my mat on the table, my silicone mat, and then I'm going to be like using this 3 shades of fondant today. The reason why you need 3 shades of fondant is because nobody's vagina is one color. If it's a white person, like the outside is like a darker shade and then inside is more pinkish. If it's maybe like a Caucasian or a white, like if it's a black person, the outside is darker and then the inside is more like a lighter color, yeah. So that's why we are using different shades. So if you want to see how I made this shades of fondant, this skin tone shade of fondant, without having like special food coloring, I used yellow and orange, yellow and pink. If you want to see how I made this without buying any special food coloring, yeah, I'm going to put the link right up here. It says click on me, yeah, click on that. You can see how to make flesh tone fondant without having to like pay extra for like flesh tone food coloring. Because imagine you have to buy every color you need, you have to buy that color. Like imagine how much you'll be spending on food coloring. So like, you have to find a way to do this caking thing in a cheap way. Okay, so what I'm doing is like I rolled some fondant and then I'm folding like shapes, and what I'm going to do is those are going to form the labia minora. That's the lip inside. Yep, that's a mini lip. Yeah, so what you want to do is use like a food brush with some water on it and just like moisten the side so like your fondant can stick to it. So we're going to do like an opening in the middle. That's what we want to do. So you want to place it kind of like this. Watch what I'm doing. Yeah, so there can be an opening in the middle. But before this, I was supposed to do something first, but I didn't remember, so I'm going to do that second. So if you want to make this cake, make sure like you do what I'm about to do right now. You do it first before doing this. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys. So what you want to do is you want to press it so it can come up first. Yeah, okay. So you want to take a little bit of fondant and spread it really flat. You want it to be really thin, and then you want to lift it and try to put in between the lips. Normally you would not be trying to put in between the lips if you do this first, because you're supposed to first do the first layer of fondant and then do this next. That way it is a lot easier instead of what I'm about to do right now. So make sure you do this before you do the lip, the labia minora ID. That's a lot easier to apply and everything. So, and then what you want to do is you want to take maybe a knife or something that has like a sharp tip, so you can make sure those edges are defined. Yeah, you can see those folds. Yeah, because the vagina has folds. Different vaginas look different actually, because just like regular human anatomy, different body parts of different people look different, but it's basically the same blood vessels, the same parts and the same crevices and everything, but everybody has like unique qualities, or basically every vagina looks different. Just like everybody different, like we have eyes, but like some people have cat eyes, some people have really big ones, some people have bulging ones, some people have really tiny, like minute ones you can hardly see and everything. So different body parts look different, so it doesn't have to look the same. So if you're making this cake, your vagina doesn't have to look like the vagina I just made. Do you understand? Yeah, everything does not have to look the same. That's the wonderful thing with anatomy. So you want to fold this into it, and you want to press it with maybe a knife or something that has a sharp edge that represents the folds in the vagina. And then once you are done with this, and notice we use the first color, the lightest color for this. So once we are done with this part, we're going to go to a shader, like a darker shade of fondant for the labia majora and stuff. Okay. Okay, so you want to cut out the excess and then shift that to one side, and then take a darker shade of fondant, yeah, and then roll it out. And then what we did for the first part, for the first lip, is what we're going to do for the second one. So what you want to do is take it and then fold the edge, cut it in the middle and then fold the edge. Yeah, and you don't want to fold it too much. You want it to be a little bit rough, because vaginas are not perfect. They are just kind of like rough, weird, like imperfect, perfect things, kind of. Okay, so you want to put some water again with your food brush and then apply the fondant you just made. Just the same way you apply the first one is how you want to apply the second one. And then make sure you're not pressing on top of the ones you already did, because you want that to show. You want the details you're putting into this to show. Okay, so if you want to see my other erotic cakes, I hope you can notice that the color is different, and that way it gives it dimension. It doesn't just look like the same. Okay, so if you want to see my other erotic cakes, I've made vagina cupcakes on this channel. I've made a penis cake. I think I've made a book cake. I have like a playlist of erotic cakes, and I'm going to put the link right up here. It says click on me. Yeah, click on that in case you want to make, you're thinking of making a cake for someone and the person wants an erotic cake or something. So click on that. So the next thing I want to do is use the darkest shade of fondant. So in my case, when I'm trying to use a darker shade of fondant, especially for this, for something like this, I like to airbrush some brown on it once I'm done, because it gives it some dimension. But if you don't have an airbrush, what you want to do is make sure you add some cocoa powder to it, because it makes it a little bit darker and it gives it like the skin tone of actual humans, like of actual dark humans, if that makes sense. So the same thing we did for the first and the second one is what we're going to do for this third one. We are going to make a line in the middle. These voiceovers are hard, yeah. We're going to make a line in the middle, and then we are going to like moisten the side so it can have something to stick to, and then we are going to make folds again like we did initially. So you want to take it and fold it, and you don't want it to be perfect, you just want to fold it lightly. And then just like you folded the first one, you want to fold the second one. And that's what you want to make sure this one is really big, because this is going to cover the remaining part of your cake, and you don't want any part of your crumb coating to show. So once we are done with this, you want to take the cake, you want to separate it, and then take the cake and try to cover one side at a time. Okay, so guys, you want to take the fondant you already folded, and then you want to take the folded edge and then apply it like underneath the other lip you made, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but just look at what I'm doing and try to repeat the same thing. So you want to make sure you do this, and you want to make sure you don't want it to be too smooth, so just press it really well so it can be well pressed, and so like the vagina can kind of be bulging upward, if that makes sense. And then once we are done with this and it is well applied, we're going to be cutting the extra fondant off of the vagina cake, and we have a perfect vagina. It is good to go like this. What you can do to add some dimension to it is to maybe use some brown edible dust, yeah, those dusting powders they use for flowers and everything. You can use a brown one, or maybe like a peach one, that can help. Or if you have an airbrush, in my case I like to use an airbrush to accentuate the folds and like to give it dimension and everything. So I'm going to use my airbrush, and I'm going to put some brown food coloring into it and just airbrush it lightly. And you want to airbrush the darker side, you don't want to airbrush the top of it, yeah. You want to airbrush the sides that is supposed to be a lot darker, yeah, and you want to use that to give it dimension. You don't want to put any color on top of it. But if you want to make it a little bit darker and you want to bring it like a little bit more together, you can put a little bit more color on top of it. So once I'm done with this, yeah, I'm going to just steam it, and we are good to go, and our vagina cake is ready to be served. And when I say served, I mean served to me. Okay, so once we are done, yes, if you want to learn how to airbrush for beginners, I have a video on how you can learn how to airbrush for beginners. It is very beginner friendly. I made it especially for people that just bought an airbrush and you don't know how to use it, or you just bought it and you're not very used to using it yet. So that video was specially made for you. So I'm going to put the link right up here. It says click on me, yeah, click on that, so you can see how to make that and how to improve your airbrushing skills when it comes to cakes and stuff. Okay, so guys, thank you, and I hope you enjoy this video, because I really enjoyed making it for you guys. And I thought to myself, if you saw my vagina cupcakes that I made, I kind of like added like a ring to it. So I added a ring to this one as well, and I enjoyed making it so much. So thank you guys, and please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in my future videos. Thank you, and I love you guys. Bye.